Aaron Whitlow.
Brandon Spivey here, and we are the Mark Out Movie Podcasters. And on today's episode, Aaron, what are we discussing?
We're having a very Vince Vaughn Christmas episode where we're discussing two Vince Vaughn films, one of which is for Christmases, and the other is Fred Claus. I can't think of any other Vince Vaughn Christmas movies actually. I think those is it.
I think that's the only two. He did them in
Probably for the
back-to-back
best.
years too.
Oh wow. But we're gonna deal with first Four Christmases. It's a weird title, and yeah, we're gonna get into it. All right, let's get into it. Brandon has like silhouetted is like he's in the. It's almost like you're in a protective services, and you don't want folks to know. Oh, there you are. You kind of lighten up right there a little bit.
There we go. I'm lightening up. Maybe it's the
Uh,
camera.
Maybe it's the camera. Don't touch your camera. Oh, geez. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
But
it
now
went
it's
dark.
darker again. It's your lack of pigment or the um, essence of it. Um, Maybe you can
I'm white, Aaron. I'm white.
uh, try putting your hand up to the camera real quick. All right. Well, I was gonna say because you can maybe white balance with your hand to make your. It's just because you're wearing a hat. You're dark. You're wearing dark clothes. You're gonna be dark, Brandon, today. That's okay. It's all right. You're gonna be Fred
Dark and moody
Claus.
Vince Vaughn. There we go.
There you go. First one we're gonna deal with because I don't know because I liked it the least.
You like it the
It's Four
least?
Christmases.
For
Four
Christmas.
Christmases. I liked
There's
it the least.
aspects of it I like it better than Fred Claus. And there's other aspects I like better than Fred Claus, and I do this. But you're gonna be very
Couple.
surprised with my numbers for both
Yeah, I
films.
will be. I imagine you give them high ratings.
I
A
will. I'm the only
couple.
person in the world that will, but I will do it.
Well, yeah, it's to each their own. A couple struggles to visit all four of their divorced parents on Christmas. This movie stars Reese Witherspoon as Kate, Vince Vaughn as Brad. They work really well together, by the way. Uh, and Mary Steenburgen as Marilyn. Robert Duvall, I love old Robert Duvall as Howard. Sissy Spacek as Paula. John Voight as Creighton. That'd be Kate's dad. The star of the show, John Favreau, is Denver. He's the star of the show. Um, and Dwight Yoakam is Pastor Phil. You have Tim McGraw as Dallas, Kristen Chenoweth as Courtney, and then Kate Mixon as Susan. And then there's other people in the
What he's
family
saying,
and that.
this is a huge cast for a 90-minute movie.
Yeah, Skylar, one of the kids that played one of John Favreau's sons, went on to be in like an actor, like be in other stuff. You know, the kid that played Connor.
Mm-hmm.
He went on to be in like um, the Vacation movie, the remake of National Lampoon's Vacation.
Not my
Uh,
vacation.
no, I know it's not your vacation. Uh, Licorice Pizza. The Sterling, the Sterling. He's been in a lot of stuff. But yeah, he went on to be in some movies. But no, that's not your vacation film. I understand.
It's not.
I personally like some aspects of it, just like the way you feel about
I
Four
like the
Christmases.
cameos. Yeah.
So you like Chevy Chase being in it,
And
and
Beverly D'Angelo, yeah.
and Chris Hemsworth, I assume.
Was he in that?
Yes, he cameos in it.
I don't remember. It's a
But
forgettable film for me. So,
what numbers do you have for Four Christmases?
oh man, this is gonna be so beautiful. Okay, here we go. It's got a 5.7 out of 10 on IMDb. It's got a 65% on Just Watch, whatever that is. It's got a 72% on Google. Now, on Rotten Tomatoes, it's going to get bad. It's got a 25% on the tomato meter with a 47% audience score. But
Yeah,
this has better scores, I do believe, than Fred Claus.
I assume so. But so this movie's about couple Kate, and I'm just gonna call Vince and Reese, Brad, aka Orlando. So we find that out later. But they essentially are youngish couple who don't have any prospect of marrying one another or having children. They just want to just have fun, and they do little things like role playing. They go on vacation versus spending time with their family on Christmas and holidays. They just love to do those type of things, but then they get snowed in. Their trips get canceled because of the fog, right? Not snow,
Yeah,
fog.
the fog. To me, this was
And
a better version of Christmas with the Cranks because it had
I agree.
similar plot points. I prefer this version better. I think they are a better couple than Tim Allen and Jamie Lee Curtis. Although I don't hate Christmas with the Cranks, I just think they're at this idea of them spending the holidays in Fiji, which is the same place that Tim and Jamie Lee was going. I just feel that the chemistry's better and the overall story's better. Uh, it's chaotic when they meet with their families, though. It's very chaotic.
Now you got me curious about something. Christmas with the Cranks came out in 2004, and this movie came out in 2008. Do you feel like uh, the the studio was like, I think we can redo Christmas with the Cranks, but better, essentially. Like what about if we make Christmas with the Cranks, but instead of them having people come to them for Christmas, but they're going to visit their
Yeah,
families for Christmas? But yeah, you're right. It's the same. I was thinking that way while I was watching it too, Brandon. Is that yeah, it felt a lot like Christmas with the Cranks, and then and I was actually as parts of it I was wondering what was going to happen, but I was misremembering. I was actually remembering Christmas with the Cranks instead. But yeah, but my favorite house out of all the houses that they visit would be uh, Brad's father's house
oh yeah.
with Robert Duvall, with the great John Favreau, who's a comedic genius, and Tim McGraw, who was actually pretty. He's pretty funny in there. He's not John Favreau. Favreau,
No.
he's like he plays intense so well. And he's like and so believable. Like you believe that this guy is really like what you know this type of guy. So he made it really fun. John Favreau did for me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the reunion between John and Vince because I believe they started off in Swingers together. They had a couple movies early on together, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe he directed Vince in The Breakup. I know he made a little appearance in it, but I think he also directed that movie. So it was just fun to see those two. I miss that because when I was a teenager, you were probably a little older than me, but Vince Vaughn and John. Hey, Biff, blah, blah. The Hobbit. Hey.
All right, Brandon. What he meant to say,
Blah, blah.
blah 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 blah
See, I
blah.
told you my energy levels would pick up.
Yeah. Well, it took the Hobbit to do it. But but no, yeah, I agree. I forgot that Vince and John Favreau, like there's in yeah, that movie you mentioned. I forget
Swingers.
what Swingers. I felt like there's in another movie as well together. They had like
Made,
two
I
or three
think.
of them. Yeah. And yeah, you forget about that, man. They must be old school like friends, like
And they were
kind of
together in Rudy as well.
really they were in
Yeah.
Rudy.
Vince Vaughn was in Rudy.
John
Yeah.
Favreau's in Rudy. I didn't
Yeah.
even know
He's
he was in it.
actually best friend. When he's going to Notre Dame, he's just like his best friend to Sean
I had
Astin's
no
Rudy.
idea. I had no idea.
Oh, I love that movie.
Literally,
I love it.
literally, I don't remember nothing about Rudy at all, other than don't he get hurt, or maybe I'm remembering Lucas.
No,
I
no, he
don't
didn't
know.
get hurt. No. He's
He
just like
helped
on
win
the
in the
practice
game.
squad until the
He helped
last
win
play
the
of the
game,
game.
didn't he?
What now?
Yeah. Didn't he help win the game or something?
And no, he didn't win the game. He got to play the last play of the game.
Oh, okay.
But it was a big
Yeah,
deal for him. I mean, that's all he wanted to do his whole life was play for Notre Dame.
I'm glad it happened for Rudy. I wonder what happened to the guy now. It's he's probably
He,
famous.
he's semi-famous. He wrote a book about it, and he does some kind of public speaking. You know, so I mean, he's semi-famous.
They used to make us watch Rudy like every school year
Really?
for some reason. Yes, in school. I watched Rudy in school. I don't know why. I don't know why to this day, and I don't remember the movie because I just was like, when I seen him as a kid, you got to understand. I saw Sean Astin as just like Mikey or whatever from
Goonies.
Goonies, and
Yeah.
so I immediately was like, I'd rather watch Goonies. Is what I was thinking. Like, what is this? I'd rather watch Goonies. Give me Goonies, not this. And I didn't like football, so it really didn't. I was like, I didn't. I don't care. But no offense, Rudy. If you want to come on the podcast, we'll let it happen. But anyway,
And would allow anyone to come on the podcast that's got some name recognition. That's the truth. That's the truth.
cold hard facts. But yeah, no, Dallas and Denver, the brothers that are UFC trained fighters, uh, and essentially, I think it would have been better if they had been just wrestlers. I wish that they were more of because what they do is more wrestling moves than they do like UFC moves. Other than
Yeah.
the arm bar, the arm like you think of Ronda Rousey's finishing, although she does like a no Brock Lesnar didn't he used to do a version of the arm thing,
Yeah.
the arm bar, but obviously you wouldn't put it on the part of the bone that you put it on that you can snap. But yeah, I mean, and then I never noticed that he gives him $1 after he does that. Like he pumps and then he gives him $1 because I guess he gets him off. Like it's the weirdest thing, man. It's weird, man.
I always took it as he was kind of replaying his character from Friends, who he got trained by the UFC. He was no good at it, but he got trained. So I was always, and I thought that was a connection with Reese Witherspoon as well because she was on Friends for a little bit. So
She's Rachel's sister.
sister, yeah.
I'm friend. Nobody remembers that. Reese Witherspoon is actually Rachel's sister. She was like an unknown at the time, I think, when she came on the show, or very young.
Yeah, she was.
Uh,
It may have been after Cruel Intentions, but she was early. It was early stages of her career when she was on that show.
how do you feel about some of the other family members that we meet at Brad's father's house? Being Brad's father himself, Howard, played by the legendary Robert Duvall. Um, and Robert's so good, man. I love Robert. He's so seamless, isn't he? He's so
Yeah,
real.
yeah. Everything he does, he just you gravitate towards him. I mean, you can't help it. And Brad's family is a lot like my family in a sense.
2 weeks in a row, Brandon is on the podcast.
in a sense. I'm not gonna say anything else, but in a sense, they reminded me of certain members of my family. So
Are you Brad? Are you Brad in this scenario?
I didn't change my name, but I'm not gonna say anything.
I want all the tea on this one. But so we also have in this household, uh, you have like I said, Dallas, Tim McGraw. Tim has stepped his game up when it comes to acting. I think that he's really
Really
doing a
has.
really good job. I remember him in was it Friday Night Lights or was it Varsity Blues? One of them. Was it Varsity
It
Blues?
wasn't Varsity Blues. He wasn't in that.
Friday Night Lights. You sure?
Oh, I'm sure he
I
was in
thought he was.
Varsity Blues.
You sure he wasn't the father of James Vanderbeek?
No, it was a weird looking dude with the mustache, bald head. Wasn't country sensation Tim McGraw.
Okay, I know he was in something. He's in Blindside, of course.
Yeah, he was in
Friday Night
Blindside.
Lights. Friday Night Lights. Okay,
Come on, I know about
that's
James
what it is.
Vanderbeek movies. He doesn't have
Yeah,
many, but I know
he's
the few he's done.
Yeah, that's true. You know his movies. But so yeah, Tim. Do you feel like he? I mean, it's probably fairly early in his career. So you feel like he was like, or was he just subdued because his character was
You
kind
know
of like
what?
more
I hate to
quiet?
admit this, but when I was watching it last night, I didn't realize it was Tim McGraw. I actually thought it was Billy Ray Cyrus. I did. Just the way he looked, it just looked. He looked like Billy Ray Cyrus to me. Didn't speak like him, but his facial expressions, I just saw Billy Ray. That's a big
So,
insult, I do believe.
oh wow, I'm a Tim McGraw guy. Honestly, I mean, music wise, I enjoy Tim McGraw. But yeah, also he's not the only musical person that, well, not in that household. So, uh, Dallas is not Dallas, but Denver's wife is Katie Mixon. I love the scene with her talking like her nipples and it's so uncomfortable with Reese Witherspoon. And the whole visit was uncomfortable. Like you could tell she was uncomfortable. Like her like with Brad getting beat up. She's like, what in the world is going on here? It's like
Yeah,
chaos compared to her household. So it was Brad that pretty much grew up like a redneck essentially, right? Like
yeah, a little bit of a
lower
redneck.
class.
Yeah, yeah. Let's move on.
So yeah, so nothing really major happened there other than she she gave the baby a concussion um when they try to hang the satellite dish or as
Which I
Robert
love, by
Duvall
the way. I
calls
love
it.
the satellite dish scenes. I
he,
mean,
he calls it he said, I don't want a satellite. He said it's not satellite, it's satellite dish. But yeah, I love like they play really well off one another. But yeah, so the next house that we visited was uh
Reese's mom.
uh Reese's mother, who is played by Mary Steinberger, who is married to or was married to uh your boy Ted Danson. That's Ted Danson's wife.
Oh, was it? I don't
I
know the
might be
personal
wrong about
lives of
that.
these people, so
No, well, the reason why I know that I might be wrong, but the reason why I know that is because I watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, and she's on that show. And I think that because she's the real life wife of, or she was at one point. I don't know how. I don't know if I'm accurate on that, but Mary Steinberger did I say her name right?
probably I probably would have said like Steenburger. So you probably do. You're
Um,
probably saying it right.
but yeah, she showed up in Curb Your Enthusiasm in a funny first time she showed up. It was funny. She was the wife of one of the people. I think Ted Danson or something like that. I might be wrong. But she's the wife. Yeah, it's Ted Danson. Yeah, okay. It's a spouse, Ted Danson. But she shows up, and Larry David has a crush on her, and so but he's married too, so it's kind of awkward. But it's just a funny scene. Uh, Ted Danson's hilarious in that show as well. But Mary Steinberger, hopefully Steinberger, I don't know, Miss Mary. But I've always been a fan of hers. Like I love when she pops up and stuff. Um, Now I don't feel like she was really utilized well in this film. Well, she was the one that had the crush on the old preacher, right?
Yeah,
Dwight Yoakam.
Dwight Yoakam. Yeah,
Oh, well, that's
I don't
funny
like
in
Dwight
itself.
though. Like in
Like
anything he does,
you just don't like Dwight
I
Yoakam.
don't like Dwight Yoakam. No, something about him. I didn't like him in Sling Blade. I don't like him in this. Didn't he do that movie with Jodie Foster about the house being on lockdown or something? I don't know what it's called. It was a big movie
you
back
just
then, but I
you
don't
just
like
don't like
him.
Dwight Yoakam.
I don't
You
like his
just don't
music
like.
either. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Dwight
I
Yoakam.
like. I like Guitars and Cadillacs. I think that's a really cool song. But I can't name any other Dwight Yoakam songs. I just know that one. But yeah, he was in Wedding Crashers as well. The Sling Blade, like you mentioned, Crank.
Yeah, he's in Crank.
It says Terminator Dark. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. No, let's not. Let's not. Let me not get anything wrong because Brandon is about to jump through this screen at me. He's not in Terminator. I'm sorry, Brandon. But no. But my point, your point, and I agree with you. I'm not a huge Dwight Yoakam fan. That part could have easily been played by somebody else and somebody better that I would rather have seen, not Dwight Yoakam. But maybe it's because nobody likes Dwight Yoakam and nobody is supposed to really like this Pastor Phil.
I mean,
Are we supposed to like him? I don't understand.
I don't think you dislike him, but he wasn't written well. Now that we're talking about it, a lot of the characters weren't written well.
Yeah, I feel like the movie loses thing. Like it starts off real well at the first house with Robert, and I think that the second house it was still okay, but once they left the house to go to the church, I felt like it wasn't. It lost some steam for me, and I like to talk about that as well. But we also have showing playing her Reese Witherspoon's sister, Kristen Chenoweth, who is a legendary Broadway performer and actress as well. But she's always I've always liked her, and so I forgot she's even in this movie actually. Um, like I haven't seen this movie in a couple of years, so I literally forgot that she's in it. But I like her. I like her in some things. I hadn't seen her in a lot of stuff. But I want to talk about the nativity scene.
Oh,
Brandon, that was the chunkiest little baby Jesus. No, it's not the reason. But I did love. Do you feel like? How did you feel about Vince Vaughn's performance? Well, before we get there, we have like Vince Vaughn. I love his dry heaving from the vomit. I thought that was great.
yeah.
What did you think about that?
No, I thought it was great. Overall, though, as far as performance, I actually, I don't look at Vince Vaughn as a comedic actor. I never have. And somehow or another way, he became this comedic actor, and I do love him in this movie, and I loved him in Fred Claus and Dodgeball, but I felt he was more funny in this one than anything I've ever seen. Honestly, I I liked his character a lot. So
What about Night Watch or Neighborhood Watch or whatever that movie is?
oh,
You
he's
remember that one?
that with Ben
You
Stiller and
know,
Jonah Hill.
yeah, he's in there.
I I would have to rewatch it. I didn't like it when I first saw it. It made
Yeah.
one of my worst films of the year that year. So I just thought that
Um,
movie was unfunny. It just you had all these great talents. I actually forgot he was in that movie. I remember Ben and Jonah, and Jonah was the main reason I wanted to see it because Jonah Hill. But
Filfer says Vince Vaughn is in Freaky acting like 15-year-old girl was
yeah,
hilarious. I agree. Now that's my biggest gripe about Vince Vaughn. It's not great, but Vince Vaughn plays himself in a lot of like that same neurotic, not neurotic, but like fast talking, just sarcastic type of character. That's the character he plays, and I think that what I liked about Freaky so much is that he played against that type, especially as a serial killer portion of it. But then, like when he becomes a girl, he performed like he was like a 16, 15-year-old girl,
yeah.
and I love that. I love that. Like that was like one of my favorite movies that came out of. Was it last year?
I want to say it was 2020, but I may be wrong. I saw
Yeah,
it
maybe
last
it's
year.
2020. Yeah, but yeah, but I think that like the scene with the church and like Vince Vaughn, that was funny. Like it was funny. Him like getting high off of the performing in front of
Yeah,
the crowd, and and like baby. take this and swaddle that baby, or and then like, here, you give it, you unfit mother. I will swaddle him, and I will keep him and guide him. Just so dumb, just like just
I
hamming
also
it
like
up.
that he took it seriously, you know? Once he got up there, he was taking it seriously, and she couldn't remember her lines, and he remembered, well, good for you. I remember both of our lines. He's like, so I was like, I like that he took it seriously.
Yeah, we should name him Jesus. It's funny. Yeah, it was funny, man. That scene was funny. I felt like after that, that's when things kind of went downhill for me. Cause like I don't really remember the house with Sissy Spacek other than like she's dating a young guy,
Who used to
which
be his best friend.
yeah, that would get on my nerves, like literally. He talking to him like, "Hey, can I give you gas money?" Like, dude, man, he said we used to smell each other's hands. He said, now you sitting here dating my mom? Like, having sex with my mom? He said, no, bro, that's not, we're not friends no more, man. This is not happening.
Yeah.
Which yeah, I agree with him. It would be hard, bro. It'd be hard.
It'd be hard to be friends with somebody that was dating your mom, that you were really close with, and now that they've moved into like the stepdaddy role. Just it'd be awkward.
Hmm. Yeah. But ultimately, I felt like those scenes kind of I felt like after that and the last house, like I literally don't remember anything about John Voight's house,
Well, I
like
think
them
that was
visiting.
mainly just for the setup that they were breaking up, and John Voight was supposed to give her some fatherly advice because he kind of skipped out on his family, which is kind of a true story with John Voight. He kind of skipped out on his family. But I
He's been
like that
privy to a
scene.
lot of stuff. John Voight. He's literally there when Natalie Wood died. So he's man, his life is a strange story of John Voight. Did you know
Yeah,
that?
I did not know he was. No, I did not know that.
Yeah, when Natalie Wood uh, drowned suspiciously, he was the other person that's on the boat. Him and Natalie Wood's husband, they were there. They survived. She didn't. As they said, it was an accident. But also, Natalie and her husband was arguing the day before. Yeah, somebody got murdered. But okay.
Well, this took a dark turn. I just know I don't know anything true, really personal, other than him and Angelina are don't speak, you
Hmm.
know. But I didn't know anything like that. Murder She Wrote says Bilfer.
Uh, you know, the thing is, man, uh, I never really, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never been a big John Voight fan.
Oh
Like
really?
I didn't like him in Anacondas or Anaconda. I never really like, I never enjoyed John Voight. Now he's a good actor though. Like I think he was actually in Friday Night Lights, wasn't he? Was he the
No,
coach in there?
you got it reversed again. He's in Varsity Blues.
I know he's the coach somewhere. Is it in
Bud
Varsity
Kilmer.
Blues?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love him in
Yeah,
that
which
movie.
he was good in there. He was good in there. He because he's so hateful, and
Yeah,
you just like despise him, but he wants to win. But yeah, I just don't like John Voight.
you
Just me
didn't like him in
personally.
Anaconda.
I can't wait for him to die.
I
Just
thought he
don't
was the
like
best part about that movie. Honestly,
really.
yeah, his character made the movie flow better, in my opinion.
Can you read that for me?
John Voight in Champ and Midnight Cowboy was amazing. I haven't
I've never
seen.
seen Midnight. Is that the one with John Travolta?
Nah, I would have seen it. But no, I don't think they've
I'm
ever
pretty,
worked together. I liked him in Deliverance though with Burt Reynolds.
I did like him in Deliverance. I did like
Deliverance,
Deliverance, but I liked it because of Bert, and I liked it because of Ed. No, what's his name? Ned Beatty. Ned
Ned Beatty.
Beatty.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I love that movie. Deliverance is like it's a hard movie to watch. But yeah, it's a good movie though. But yeah, so yeah, okay. So that's the main emphasis. So they break up. For those that don't are keeping score.
She
They
wants to
break
have
up because, huh?
she wants to have kids now. You
Yeah,
know, she saw him
and
carrying that baby, and
Midnight Cowboy 1969 first rated X to win the Best Picture at the Academy Awards. Ooh, I wonder why it's rated X. I guess you'll tell us. Um, this dude has seen movies. Um,
he's in Runaway Train with Eric Roberts. I thought that was pretty good.
Runaway Train never come back. But anyway, uh, but yeah. So I think that ultimately, so they break up because yeah, she wants to have children and progress the relationship, and he's fine with it being where it is, but he's fine that way because he's dealt with the divorce of his family, and he doesn't like what is done to him, and so he pushes it away because he doesn't want to experience that. But but
Yeah,
but eventually he comes to realize what he wants her more than anything else, so he'd rather make her happy. Um, which the end of the movie is them having a baby, and they didn't let the family know. Kind of call back to the beginning of the movie, I guess. But yeah, and the news comes in there to let people know. It sets up for like a sequel, but that clearly never happened
no,
at
no,
all.
no,
I
it
guess
didn't.
it was a box office flop, right?
Yeah, Fred Claus was the hit, and this was the flop.
It's crazy to think that, but 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 I have reasons why I like Fred Claus over this movie. It just simple. Paul Giamatti, he's gold. I love Paul Giamatti. I love them working together. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I love Paul Giamatti. I'm just a Paul Giamatti guy. So, but
He's
you ready to
good.
give you
Yeah,
you
I'm
ready to
ready.
give your score for? All right. What's your score? Oh,
I'm
I'm so
gonna.
surprised.
Oh yeah, it's up there. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 because I really love the chemistry between Reese and Vince. I love their story. I love Robert Duvall, and like when Vince goes and talks to him after they break up, and he's kind of proud of him, but I felt he was proud in a sarcastic way, like you're an idiot. But I'm gonna praise you a little bit too because I divorced your mama. And I don't know.
he said he said I don't want to speak ill of your mother, but she's a horse. Like, oh my goodness, bro, man.
She left her
Like
career. She left her family.
Robert
She
Duvall was
was a
so great.
waitress, Dad. That's not a career. That's a job.
Robert Duvall was great in this movie. You could tell the boys was raised by by and then Vince Vaughn is like sensitive because he was raised by Sissy Spacek more. He gravitated towards her,
Yeah.
uh, which I love it, man. I love that, but I'm gonna give it 2 point. I'm gonna give it 2.5 markers out of 5, because I thought that it lost steam. Uh, I'll adjust it to 3. Adjust it to 3 because
You can go however you
no,
want.
no. I adjust it to 3 because the people in the movie that stood out that made me love it more is Vince Vaughn. Obviously, Reese Witherspoon wasn't bad. I always like Reese Witherspoon, and she's natural. She's always natural. People don't think about that. Reese Witherspoon is so good at playing just a natural, real life character, like real life person,
Yeah.
and I give her credit for that. But yeah, Reese, Vince, Robert, and John Voight, not John Voight, Jesus, John Favreau. Uh, they really did it for me. Um, I just wish the script was a little tighter, and I wish that uh they could have shaved off time in some of the things to kind of make it a little bit more.
Well, it was
Could
only 90 minutes, though. I mean,
yeah, like the stuff at the church didn't really need to happen. Uh, it was a good scene, but it doesn't really had anything other than maybe her baby fever that she's experiencing. But yeah, 3. I'm gonna
3.
settle for 3. Yeah.
Set up a 3. All right.
All right. Next, we're moving on to the other Vince Vaughn Christmas movie. Unless Bilfer knows of anything else, feel free to let us know. You might know something that is obscure, like The Man Who Fought the Martians Part 5 or something. Um, Fred Claus came out in 2007, a year prior to this. This is when Vince was still pretty gold in the box office, I guess. Um, Fred Claus, Santa's better older brother, is forced to move to the North Pole to help Santa and the elves prepare for Christmas in exchange for cash. Starring Vince Vaughn as Fred Claus, Paul Giamatti as Nick Santa Claus, Elizabeth Banks as Charlene, smoking in this movie. Uh, John Michael Higgins is that the guy? Higgins, yeah. Um, is Willie the elf. And then you have Miranda Richardson as Annette Claus, and then Rachel Weisz
And
as
did he
Wanda.
just say and Rachel? He's forgetting one other big name, and it's the elephant in the room. We
Who,
have never talked
Ludacris?
about this guy.
Oh, no, not Ludacris. Kevin Spacey is
There we
Clyde.
go. We mentioned his name. Fine.
I forgot about. Literally, I forgot he was in this movie, and I
Really?
forgot that Ludacris was in this movie. I forgot a lot of these people was in this movie. Um, that kid actor in this movie, I thought he'd go on to be fairly prominent and stuff, but he never really did. He's always so small, man. I wonder what happened to that kid. Uh,
I
but anyway, it's neither here nor there. He was in role models. That kid was. Anyway, Fred Claus. What I don't like about it. Let me say this first: the opening stuff, because it don't really explain how Fred, Fred makes it more to the modern world versus like where they were before. It seems like it's way back over centuries ago,
yeah,
and he's been alive for over centuries ago. You know,
we're
he's
immortal.
just kind of a yeah. And so Fred is
The whole family
essentially
is
immortal.
immortal. Kathy
Oh
Bates,
wow!
she was there back then too. She's there now. She looks
I
the
forgot to
same
mention.
though as she
I
did
forgot to
back
mention
then.
Kathy Bates. I literally forgot to mention Kathy Bates in this movie. I've always enjoyed Kathy Bates. But yeah. So Kevin Spacey's in this. But yeah, we're gonna talk about Fred Claus. I think
Yeah,
that
Bilfer, you're right. It was the best montage.
Fred Claus song, Rubbernecking song by Elvis, all time music montage. Yeah. Um, I noticed that it. One thing that I noticed this movie had that it took me out of the movie immediately was a lot of cartoonish sounds. Did you notice that? Like when people running and sliding over the cars, they have like cartoon noises, like the like those cartoon noises I'm referring to, like
Yeah,
oh
I didn't pick up on that.
yeah, there's a lot of them like when they're sliding like on marbles or whatever else. It's just like a lot of that cartoon noise, and maybe it's because they marketed it for kids, but it can go over the kids' heads. I think Um, but well, it's a fun concept. You have Fred. You have if imagine being Santa Claus' brother. And the only other thing I can kind of compare it to is imagine being Jesus's brother. That would be like you gotta feel, he's Jesus. Jesus is perfect. So you have you you mess up all the time, and then you look at your brother and you're like, "Ah, I can't stand this guy. Walking on water all day long,
Wow.
turn water into wine, man, commanding seas. And I'm just really trying to take care of the sheep. I don't know. I'm just playing. But anyway, I just think it'd be like a funny concept. So it's a funny idea of thinking about Santa Claus has a brother, and his brother is kind of a mess up. You know,
Yeah, I mean, he's human.
Yeah,
And his brother's above that, you know. But you talked a little bit at the beginning and what really started this. I don't want to say feud, but I don't even want to say jealousy. I don't feel it's truly jealousy. It's just he gets overlooked no matter what he does, and he tries to do good. He gave him a present, and what does his brother do with the present? He gives it to people that need it more. So that made him act
yeah.
so bad. It's like, I give you this, and you're just gonna give it away. And
He
then
said he
the
said
tree
who
happened.
need, he said who needs a book called Nicholas? You know, who else needs a book named with the name Nicholas on it? It's just like which is a valid point. Like I was like, yeah, who that's literally a pointless gift to give somebody else unless their name is Nicholas.
Yeah,
But
but the tree really did it because he had this little bird and this little birdhouse,
chirp chirp.
and Nicholas comes in and cuts it down for him. Like it's like he didn't grasp how important. It wasn't necessarily the tree. It was the bird. It was the bird went on. He never saw him again.
You
I
know,
understand Fred's dilemma here. I think anyone watches this movie is going to understand. But
I didn't even put that up. But yeah, so one thing that I wanted to mention was like that scene kind of saddened me when Fred threw the apple at his brother uh and hit the back of his head. Just and you could look in that kid actor's face, the sadness that was on his face, like that his brother would hurt him. Um and one thing Paul Giamatti's brilliant in his movie. It's like you feel like he actually loves and cares for this man,
yeah,
and and that he's just always to being him being Santa Claus is one thing, but for Santa Claus, but for Nick Claus, his big brother is like he's like it's like he looks up to him. It's like his you know it's beautiful. It's a beautiful sentiment. Um,
yeah,
that's what I gravitated towards with this film. But the lovely Rachel Weisz in this movie, I like her. I don't like her as much in here. You know what I mean?
yeah. She doesn't. She doesn't. Well, she doesn't have a lot to do. Her character wasn't well written. I did love the cameo by Jeffrey Dean Morgan though. But
Yes, he's in this movie. Yeah, freaking Negan is in this movie. I didn't even realize he was in this movie.
that's about the time he was
Uh,
doing Supernatural, I believe. First season at least. No, that's past that. That's past Supernatural. He was already gone by then, but he looks like the father from Supernatural, John Winchester.
mhm.
Yeah, same hairstyle and everything. So I was like, so I gravitated towards that. Like I was like, that's John Winchester, because that's the
I
Jeffrey Dean
immediately think
Morgan I
Negan.
remember the most.
I think Negan, like he has cemented himself so well as Negan that no matter what I see him in, I immediately think Negan. He's just like he's so good, man. I
Was
love.
he in
He's also
Was he in
he's
ER or Grey's Anatomy?
uh
Because I know he's
might have
loved.
been might have been Grays. I don't think he was in ER. He did show up on The Good Wife in the later seasons
Maybe
as the
it's
love
that.
interest of Alicia Florrick.
Yeah.
Yes, I watched Good Wife. Judge me if you want to. It's a good show.
Come on,
It was a good
I'm
show.
a massive fan of Dawson's Creek. Who am I going to judge?
Yeah. But yeah. And then you have Elizabeth Banks. She was pretty much just in here for eye candy, I guess. I also felt like,
You like looking at her though.
oh yeah, yeah.
I don't
It
think
is
she
what it
saw
is.
that, to be honest. But to each his own.
Yeah, to me it's on. But yeah, but I also felt like they like some things that they wouldn't do today in this movie that they like some things they did in this movie they wouldn't do today. One, cast Kevin Spacey. Two, I'm just playing. But
You're right
they
though.
two they would actually probably get little people like to play uh like the elves. if they're gonna have instead
like
of
Santa
like
Claus.
shrinking, yeah, instead of shrinking down actual tall actors and making them play this, they would just cast because representation is everything now in the industry, and I think that they would rather have somebody that truly is it. I think they had a few of them, but the main people that stood out is uh, John Michael Higgins, who I mean, he's a guy. I'm not a big fan of his. Like I've seen him and stuff. I've never really gravitated towards him. Uh, he's the one that played Willie.
Yeah.
I never really gravitated towards him in anything really. Like I mean, he's not bad. He's not a bad actor. He understands his assignment. He does well. But
He
I'm just
reminds
not a
me
huge.
of people like David Paymer. Like you recognize the face, but you don't really know a lot that he's done. Like I forgot he was in No Holds Barred when we reviewed that. Like, oh man, he's done a lot. He's been around forever. And I know he did a lot of action films, but these kind of dorky characters. But he's got that kind of face that you just, oh, I know him from somewhere, something, but I don't know what, And this guy has that face. I forgot he was
Yeah,
in Elf until he came on the screen. It's like, oh, yeah, I know this guy. Don't know what from, but I know him. So I
yeah,
feel like he's one of those type of actors.
yeah. I agree with you. He is. He's that. He's one of those that guy that was in that one movie,
Yeah.
but you don't remember what movie it is. But then you have Ludacris, who is a pretty useless character in this movie. Um,
He
this
just,
is post. I didn't mean to like your picture, Luda. Uh, but this is post. Uh, this is post Too Fast, Too Furious, I guess.
yeah, that's what really
Uh,
got him going. It's too fast.
Um, now he's came a long way, I guess, in acting and being and stuff. I'm just not. I've never been sold on him yet as an actor. Um, just and I know that's gonna people's gonna. He had a movie with Queen Latifah that's on Netflix. I thought that's like one of the worst movies of the year for me. I just felt like he was. I felt like everything was pointless in that movie. I know a lot of people love it. I just didn't. I didn't vibe off of it. I like Lou more. I thought Lou was better up to a point. I mentioned that because I watched them kind of back to back. Because
Yeah.
somebody recommended me watch both of those movies. Um, I'm trying to remember the name of it. Uh, what I'm trying to think of the name of it. I can't. Something about Drive or Way Home or something. I don't know. It's forgettable.
I was thinking of
Um,
called End of Line.
End of the Line. Yeah, something like that.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen it, but
It's,
it is on my list to watch before the end of the year on
you
Netflix.
might like it. You might like it. You might.
I'm
It
not a
might
big
go different.
Queen Latifah fan though, so if you're not a big Ludacris fan, I'm not a big fan of either. So
So, do you feel like Queen? So, with that being said, and we'll get back to this movie. But with that being said, do you feel like did Queen Latifah take away from um Hustle for you,
she didn't
or
take it away, but
well, she's barely in it?
I thought anyone could have played it. Any decent actress could have played that part. I, I, I don't want to. I feel like it's disrespectful if I say this, but I'm gonna say it. I feel she's better in supporting roles than she is when she's leading her own movie. Like Beauty Shop, that's one of my examples. Hated it. I didn't like it. I liked it. Didn't she appear in one of the barbershop films? Then got her own
Yeah,
movie. I liked it
yeah,
better
yeah.
than that. I was thinking that was the case. I didn't like
Well, she's
Bringing Down the House with Steve Martin. I don't feel she has chemistry with people when she's kind of leading the way. And I don't know. I don't know. It's just how I feel.
yeah, it's fine. If that's how you feel, man, it's cool. Yeah, I understand. It's kind of like with Luda. Chris Bridges is his real name, but Ludacris. I just feel like he's one of those actors um that show up and stuff, but I don't think that he's really grasped the concept of acting, like performing. And I think that like now with him just being saddled into this Fast and Furious franchise, I don't
Yeah.
think that he'll ever really get
Yeah.
it. Like, like, because I give credit to, and I'm gonna just mention rappers turn actors. For one, the best one out there, regardless of how you feel about the guy or how I feel about the guy, is Will Smith. He's the best rapper turn actor, bar none. He's really came a long way, and he's now, I look at him more as an actor than I ever did as a rapper. And I would say Ice Cube. I give him props on his career and how he's grown.
I
I
think I
give
really good when
I
he
give
uses the right roles.
yeah, I give Ice T credit. I give Kid Cudi credit. Kid Cudi, who was in X, he was the black guy in X.
Oh,
The
was he?
Yeah, he's came a long way from, like, he started acting like small roles and stuff and popping up, but I think that he's really. Uh, I just finished watching a movie of his on Netflix. It's like an anime movie called Extravagant. Not extravagant, intergalactic. And it's really good, man. And I really enjoyed just the visuals, kind of done in the same way as Into the Spider Verse was, like that type of animation.
Yeah.
It's really really good, man. But yeah,
I have a
so I think
comment
that oh,
to your rapping actor.
Tupac, yeah, yeah, you're right about that, man. Tupac only was in uh three movies: Juice, Above the Rim, and
Gang related.
the third gang. Well, oh no, four movies: gang related, and I think it's called not Ricochet, but Gridlock, Gridlock with Tim Roth. And he's also a trained actor in Baltimore. So his career was gonna skyrocket and he was gonna go places. And too bad he was cut down. But I would have loved to seen him. But yeah, I agree with you. I would put him above Ice Cube actually. So I'll go Will, uh, Tupac, and then the rest of the list.
But
But yeah,
back on your comment on Ludacris, here's my thing about him. I don't see anything other than Fast and Furious with him, and I feel like he stole the. It's a different character, but he kind of stole Ja Rule's job because Ja Rule was in the first Fast and Furious movie and never was heard of again. And he did a movie with Steven Seagal, which I really liked him in. I think he could have went to places if Van would have kept him on, but he didn't. But Ludacris, to me, his character is pointless. Really, I mean,
he's comic relief, really. Him and
Tyrese.
Tyrese, yeah, just like there for comic relief. That's it.
Yeah, which Tyrese originally wasn't. I mean, he was comic relief, but he wasn't that comic relief. You know.
Thank you, bro. I'm so sorry. He is don't drag me. I forgot he's in Poetic Justice. Yeah, he was supposed to actually be in Baby Boy. It went to Tyrese.
Tyrese.
But he died. He got murdered he before they was gonna shoot. They was gonna film, and so uh, uh, John Singleton put that movie on hold for a while, and finally he decided to shoot it and cast Tyrese as Baby Boy. It was Baby Boy was initially going to be Pac,
Which
which
I think it's Tyrese's best performance.
yeah, it's probably Tyrese's best performance. Ving Rhames was great in that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, uh, I've always been a fan of John Singleton's work. Anyway, Boys in the Hood is like one of my favorite movies of all time. But have you ever seen it?
Which Poetic Justice?
No, Boys, any John Singleton film.
Yeah, Boys in the Hood. That's most well known. Didn't he do another one with Ice Cube?
Yeah,
When they're
How
like in
You Learning?
college.
How You
Yeah,
Learning?
yeah, I seen that one too. That's seen Baby Boy. That's probably it though. I've seen.
Poetic Justice is his other one with this is one with Pac in it. But yeah, my point is Ludacris is forgettable in this movie. Anyway, uh, but who isn't forgettable? Who's actually really good in this movie? But then you feel like weird for saying it. Kevin Spacey is excellent in this movie as a villain.
Yeah,
He's a misunderstood villain,
but it's Kevin Spacey.
but it's Kevin Spacey.
Honestly, Yes, I know he's a horrible human being, but he's also one of the best actors we've ever seen in our generation. I mean, that's not mistakable. I mean, he just is. It just sucks that he's a horrible human being at the same time. And I feel like when he plays his villainous roles, that's really him coming out. That's who he really is. But
Mhm.
he's great. You know, uh, I ain't gonna say too much. I ain't gonna give him too much praise, but he was better than Martin Short, and I felt like they had similar characters and story arcs, but Kevin did it better here than Martin did in Santa Claus 3.
I want to say this too, man. I feel that Kevin Spacey in himself, man. Like the Usual Suspects, um, what is it, Seven? Like he's really great at playing villains, and then like you have a movie like The Negotiator where he's really heroic and really. And so when it came out, what about his character and what he did and stuff, it hurt you. But yeah, like is anyone did you tell me like you said the same thing to me about Benoit and other people, Cosby. It doesn't take away from who they are as a comedic or actor or performer. That they really did give their all in what they did. It's just that, but they are humans, and in being humans, they are also flawed. And that's the thing. Sin is real.
I
Um,
feel if he actually seeked help, maybe he could fix his problem. Maybe, but he's also got to realize he has a problem,
mhm.
and he just seems narcissistic. And I hate to say that word, but that's how he comes off when you see him do live interviews or anything. And
Yeah,
John
he
Burton
hasn't really.
said, "What now?"
Yeah, you're right. I say he's never really kind of like
No, he never really
yeah,
apologized for anything. He's made excuses, justified.
yeah. I feel that, Bilfer. Um,
Yeah, I mean, even I love Sylvester Stallone, but he was accused of raping a girl on Over the Top, and him and some other guy. Do I believe it? I mean, I think it's possible because I think Hollywood, their egos goes to their head, and fame, it make you think you can
we,
get away with anything.
yeah, we was talking about people that's on the list, the flight log or whatever. So yeah, you got folks that's on there. Money power makes you do bad stuff. Absolutely. Um, Now I do want to get back to this movie though, because we're almost at an hour, really. That I think that Paul Giamatti is a really good Santa Claus, and I feel like he's
Yeah,
Santa in this movie. And I was thinking, I'm trying to compare him to other Santa Clauses, other Tim, of course. But I thought that he could legitimately be in a movie where he's Santa, and I think he did a really good job.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Paul's one of those actors though that could literally just about play anything, serious, comedic. He knocks it out of the park 9 times out of 10, if it's not 10 out of 10. I thought he was a great Santa Claus. In recent memory, I would say he's number two behind Tim Allen. Uh, but I'm not going through the whole list of everybody's played Santa in a big way, but in recent memory, in recent films I've seen, I would say he's behind Tim Allen only as Santa. But I thought he did a
Mm.
great job, and I loved the bond between him and Vince Vaughn, him and Fred. It's misguided. It's both on both parts. Because he's got this naughty list, and Fred's like, no, every kid deserves a gift, and I totally agree with that because not every kid's bad. They may act up, but they're going through stuff as well.
Yeah,
And
it's not black and white. It's not like
yeah,
just yeah. I agree, man. Yeah, I thought their relationship that's what made me put this movie over for Christmases is just the energy that I got from Vince and Paul together uh, was very believable. Um, And I would say that it's because of Paul. Honestly, Paul Giamatti, like he seems like type of an actor that makes everybody around him better. He's really he just man, like him, like that part when they were fighting each other with the snow and snowballs and stuff. It just
Yeah,
felt like they forgot that I'm Santa Claus and whatever. You're my brother, and we're gonna have it. We're gonna have it out right now, you know.
yeah,
And of course, you had your Elvis song in here, so you know,
yeah. I was happy about that, but I tell you, one of the most underrated scenes in the movie is the siblings therapy. You had Bill Clinton's brother, who I really didn't mark out for, but the one I did mark out for was
the
Stephen
slides,
Baldwin.
bro.
Oh well,
Oh, I forgot.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
yeah,
Frank was in it, but I don't really know much about Frank Stallone. But I do
it's
know a
funny when
lot
he.
about Stephen Baldwin, so I really marked out for that.
I
He's
like
got
Steven. Steven actually is like I'm. I'm more so the my order of knowing the Baldwins comes from Alec and Beetlejuice. That's the movie that introduced me to Alec Baldwin is Beetlejuice. But Steven, it's I love anybody knows me knows I like Biodome. It's like one of
yeah,
my all time favorite like just guilty pleasure movies, and I love him as I think he is Doyle in that movie. But yeah, I just love you know I just I love so when he's in this movie, I'm like yes, yeah, I'm all about some Stephen Baldwin. But yeah, it's cool. But yeah, I think that there's other like I think Morgan Freeman's brother was in that scene. He just didn't say anything. Um, it looks like somebody might have been somebody went online to look. Somebody said Johnny Depp's brother might have been there. Some guy kind of looks like Clint Eastwood. I'm not sure, but it's like it would be hilarious if the extras around there was really legitimately these people's real brothers in this group. That would have been hilarious. And I would love to see more of that. I wanted him to go back to that scene, but
yeah.
yeah.
It was a very fun scene. I just liked how the therapist kept saying he's not Alec. It's just I loved it. It would have been even funnier if like William Baldwin was in that scene too, like
Mhm.
trying to hold him back. It's like it's not Alec. It would have been even funnier. But I love that scene.
Yeah, I loved it, man. And then Frank Stallone, like yeah, you see him in some his career wasn't as big. Now it'd been hilarious if Eric Roberts was in it, as well as Julia's
Yeah,
brother. It would have been they could have really had fun. Like if I was gonna cast that scene, I would have tried my best to get as many legitimate siblings of bigger stars that like now if I would have did it, you would have got all the other Hemsworth brothers, and you would have got like the other Skarsgårds that's not really Bill, because he's the more known one now.
yeah,
It's just like it would have been hilarious though. I think that if you could have like Michael Jackson's brothers and sisters, like all the Jacksons, yeah, that would have been hilarious. It's just like it was fun seeing, man. Um, but all right, so we realized that Kevin Spacey is here to shut down. He's pretty much working to shut down Christmas for everyone because he
yeah.
didn't get his toy.
Which I
Uh,
thought was hilarious, by the way.
because he's Lex Luthor.
Yes.
That's hilarious. It dawned on me while I was watching. I'm like, he played Lex Luthor in the Brandon Roth Superman film. So
Superman Returns.
yeah,
Yeah.
which I like personally. I personally like the movie. I know that it's panned, but I liked it. But yeah, so that's funny that he always wanted a Superman cape because of his glasses and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a sweet little thing at the end, and Fred completes it. I thought what was going to happen is Fred was going to end up being the next Santa, but like this Santa will retire. I don't know, um, but ultimately I like the movie though. You ready to go ahead and give the marks for it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
3.5 markouts out of 5. for this movie.
Wow, he went 3.5. I was expecting
Three and
higher.
a
I give
no,
this one,
three and a half.
once again, I give it a 4 out of 5. So I mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought, Rachel's character was just badly misguided in the story. It really hurt the movie, in my
She
opinion.
wasn't really even necessary, honestly.
Yeah,
She like if this movie were played out exactly the same way with her even not in it,
and
like
and
it would have been better if instead of that Vince would try to maybe adopt the kid and
yeah, I was hoping for that actually.
yeah,
But also, I kind of felt like they forgot that she existed in some aspects of the movie. It's like, but at the end, it's like, oh yeah, she's here, so I need to go make that right. I need to say I'm moving in. I'm not even giving her a choice about it. It's like, hey, I gave up my place. I'm moving in. We're gonna do this, whether you like it or not.
yeah, nothing really changed for him, man. Like other than he was able to take her to Paris in the sled. But yeah, I mean, but all in all, I would love to. I would still love, and I'll say this: I still love to see another Santa Claus movie with Paul Giamatti. Like, yes, Santa. I think that would be brilliant. I wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to Fred Claus, but I don't know if you can what you would do with it. Um, Maybe Fred Claus now has children, and they're grooming his one son to become the next Santa Claus. Uh, Maybe, but he's kind of a naughty kid, but he's also a little nice. I don't know. But I just gave y'all Hollywood. I gave y'all something. At least include me
That actually
when you write
might
the
be the
text.
plot to Tim's show. I'm thinking it's something like that. But I don't want to spoil anything.
Because spoilers is what you do, Brandon. Um, Next week, this is no spoilers. We will be talking about a Christmas story and a Christmas story 2, which is so it's a weird thing with the Christmas story. You had the original Christmas story, then you had like a sequel to it called "It Runs in the Family" or something like that with one of
Never
the
saw.
the with one of the Culkin kids. I think Rory is
Daniel
playing
Stern's
Ralphie
also
now.
in that.
David Stern is in it. No, no. Well, this is the one from the like it was made in like the 90s maybe or something
Oh,
like it 2000. It's like a. But then they had another Christmas story too with David Stern as the father, uh, which was not as good. I didn't watch it, but and then now you have this. So they've remade the Christmas stories, at least made sequels to it, like at least 3 times. Um, but I liked It Runs in the Family. It had actually Mary Steinberger in it. She's in it as playing the mother. Thing about her, she's in it as the mom. I forgot who played the father in that movie. Uh, I think it's your boy, your guy that you like on that's in Clifford to play Clifford's dad, the dad in Clifford. He's also the dad
oh,
in Beethoven, maybe that guy.
uh, Charles Grodin.
Yeah, him.
Oh, did
Um,
you also see that one of the guys from The Office, I believe, was in Fred Claus, or maybe it was Four Christmases.
yeah, yeah,
One
Kevin.
of them, the bigger guy, I forgot it. Kevin.
He's in Four Christmases.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally didn't realize he was in this. Also, the guy that's with him at the table is another actor as well. He was in Reno 911. He later on he's in the Goldbergs. He's like one of the best friends of Jeff, but I don't know what they're doing with that. Seeing they canceled that character, I don't know. how you gonna how you gonna how you gonna just write him off and not kill him off? I don't understand. Okay. Um, but
I've never seen the Goldbergs, but I know the situation. That guy was making sexual jokes or something and got fired.
um, yeah, yeah.
Comedy's tricky today. You can't. People get offended. You can't just say whatever you want.
This is true. You cannot. I'm trying to find that. But anyway, that's what we're doing next week. I'm trying to find that movie that I'm telling you about, Runs in Family, because I want to make sure I'm right. I do remember it being Mary Steinberg in it as the mom, or maybe I'm totally wrong and I'm missing the mark. But it don't matter. Uh, we're going to be talking about Christmas Story and Christmas Story 2, the official sequel. Brandon might watch the other ones if he finds them. I doubt it. He has
No.
a plate full of other stuff to watch. But Brandon, what we want people to do?
Oh, we want them to like, share, and Aaron really wants you to subscribe to the podcast.
Absolutely.
Now, what I want you to do, I just want you to have a good time. That's all.
Yep.
Aaron's all about the subscribers.
Also, I want you to have a good time too, but good time and subscribe at the same time. You can do both. Um, but yeah, I want to say is I'm going to say Karen Culkin. It's one of them freaking Culkin kids in this freaking movie. It don't matter. All right. Oh, hey, real quick. So, Macaulay Culkin is in Intergalactic. So it's all animated, but he plays like an animated version. A guy named Downtown, but it's him. It looks like him with long hair, but it's Macaulay Culkin, and it's just crazy that Macaulay Culkin is in this movie. So I was like, "Hey, Macaulay, thank you for working, buddy." I always like Macaulay Culkin. I'm glad to see him coming back out doing stuff. So, but in the meantime and in between time, Aaron Whitlow
Brandon Spivey.
with no energy. We are the Mark Out Movie Podcasters. Thank you for marking out with us. You have a great rest of your week and stay safe. All righty. One day, Brandon, one day. Oh, geez. Oh, my goodness. It says end broadcast, but I don't know if it's actually ended yet, buddy.
Oh.
All right. Well, oh, what? Having trouble connecting.